All right. Wow, 1 minute before and Jay's ready, man. We gotta write this down.
Okay, so hold on, let me get that. Okay, Jay's on time. Okay, all right, noted, got it.
Write that down. Write that down.
Let's get all right. Just all right.
Come on, Jay. Come on, buddy. Or
Man,
are you,
just give me just give me a moment. All right, just had a
oh, okay.
rough morning.
You're having your Windows XP. You got to take a minute to warm up. I got you.
Joe Gravy coming in hot, right off the drop. Right off the drop, Joe Gravy coming in hot. There
you know, I don't know if you guys, because I have heard on TikTok like that new sound that's trending where it's like, oh, I'm transforming, and then it's like, oh, I'm Sabrina, and I think the police are swell, and then it's like, oh, what the fuck? Have you heard that one? Okay.
I haven't seen that one yet. Okay.
If I find a good one, because they've been using it with cars, I have to send it to you.
Please do.
I feel that way more and more. Like I feel the Bill energy. There's specific moments to where like I'm like I could just feel this irritation, and then I just feel like this. Oh, darn kids! And then I'm like, no. What the fuck? I'm fine. This is fine.
Oh.
Because when I fucking tell you, the rating community is starting to annoy the piss out of me. Because, have you heard? Okay, so have you heard this turn of phrase? It's like, if you want software to be made, it can be cheap, efficient, fast, but you can only pick two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. With some of the raiders that I've been meeting, especially a new breed of raiders, they can either be really good at it, they can be good at the game and have great personality. You can pick one.
Right.
Because when I fucking tell you, I had met somebody this past week with this shitty gameplay and kind of okay personality. It's such a long story. Like I probably couldn't articulate it well in this hour, but I was ready to strangle them and throw them off my lawn. 'Cause the amount of, oh, I died, oh, teehee,
Oh, that sounds like every person who don't watch videos when they try to do a Desi 2 raid. It'd be like, can you explain this part for the fifth time? Like, that's why I don't raid as much, because I have a very low tolerance for people who don't study. It's like, especially the most recent raid, because it's very technical and it can be very confusing if you don't know what you're doing. So.
Right.
Yeah. And it's the same thing like, oh, Bill, that's the other thing. I gotta send you the music for the new raids that they're dropping in Final Fantasy. The first one is disco themed.
Ooh.
Yeah, the high heels and all. And so what's really, really neat, and this is kind of a different tempo than they've done with a lot of other raids, is it's rhythm based. So like if you guys wipe, everything starts over again. Yeah, it's really cool.
So okay, so question: are the notifications that you get during the battle sequences, are those kind of like mixed into the soundtrack? Now, now that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
right. That's cool. I like that. That's cool.
Oh yeah. God, this whole new raid has just been an exercise of, oh, that's cool. Oh, this is cool too. And
right.
Yeah, so all right, I found the OST. So when you guys get a second to listen to that. Now my favorite out of all of them is that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This one I think Jay can appreciate. It's subtle racism joke in there.
Of course, subtle
Oh, man.
racism.
Well, this is also the first time they've used trap music in the game. But
I fucking hate trap music with a burning passion.
but with this one,
It's
it's not bad. It's actually like it fits. It works. But anyway, back to my slight bitch fit. And I hate when you have somebody who has a shitty personality and who makes mistakes and who doesn't get corrected, but the other person who brought them in is like, "Oh no, sweetheart, it's okay. You didn't make a mistake. You're just stressed." That's another story I have. I just like, and again, this is that Bill energy that's kind of bubbling up to the surface. I just want to raid. I just want to play the game. Like, I'm so tilted by people and fucking people.
Okay, see, okay, this thought process is really it's always fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I get, I've actually thought quite a bit about this. It's like, why do I get mad at this stuff? Why? And I feel like that the overwhelming majority of frustration in the average everyday person's life has to do with expectations
Mm-hmm.
being unmet in some fashion.
Right.
Okay. And so I've thought a lot about this. I think that I want to develop a scale of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably serve in the Final Fantasy raid community as well as the Destiny raiding community,
Mm-hmm.
where you have a scale. And I haven't totally worked this out yet, but maybe like a 5-level scale. And so when you put out that you want to raid, you would then add this designation
Mm-hmm.
to your post. This is a level 3 raid. Meaning, okay, and then you would define those, so you start with like level 1. We're going to get drunk, we're going to yell at each other, and we probably won't finish. 2, and you just kind of, work this all out. And then that way, you could, like in your Discord or in your MLFG groups, you'd say, "Hey, here's my scale: 5, 7, 6, whatever that number is. I haven't fully worked it out yet." And then that way, people would know. Oh, I don't want to bring my my new girlfriend, boyfriend who started the game 3 weeks ago and is just trying to learn the difference between the classes, to a level 5 raid with people who have had the game for 10 years and can quote the lore from memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now you could also say, hey, this will be a teaching raid, okay? And then that like I said, managing the expectations. And I think that it would serve multiple communities well if you say to them, here are the expectations up front. If you're going to say this, and if you get easily stressed out by, dying 14 times, maybe you shouldn't be in this raid because guess what? I'm going to kick you out.
So,
And that way, go ahead.
funny enough, that exists in the Final Fantasy community. So,
I'm sure it does.
yeah, so the way they classified it is like if you're doing what they call a learning party. So that
Okay.
means, and they'll also specify learning from a what they call a prog point. So, like for instance, let's say you're halfway through. I'll use a mechanic from the newest Extreme that just dropped. Let's say your prog point is Roseblood 3. And this is a, or they'll call it a practice party. I've seen those interchangeably. Now, in terms of expectations levels, There's three, technically four classifications of it. The lowest one is casual. You clear it when you clear it. We're all gonna fucking be chill. You know,
Yes, yeah.
it'll happen. You know, if we decide, hey, for shits and giggles, let's just get absolutely fucking plastered and let's try to prog. That's
Right.
That's casual. Now, for anybody listening, you'll also notice, because this is from World of Warcraft, midcore is, you know, hey, we're gonna giggle, but when it's time to fucking like lock in, dial in, however you want to fucking classify it, then we do it.
Right.
But we're still gonna giggle and have a good time.
Right.
Hardcore is if you wipe X amount of times to a mechanic and you don't go into Party Finder or LFG to like master this mechanic and you don't have it down by the time we next meet, you're out.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
The technical fourth classification is the world's first racers, which means you will probably fuck up once or twice, and any more than that, and they're gonna pull in the ninth man.
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it works in the 14 community. I think the problem and the old man energy I'm kind of feeling is people who are in the upper end of midcore to hardcore and above, and they get all of these they call them legend titles because it's clearing all the ultimate content.
Right.
The more that they get the legend titles, the more that they think that they're better.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, the funny parse numbers that you get because of how much damage you do for a raid, that's another whole... Yeah.
Right, it's the same thing Destiny 2. You get people that... Yeah. And see, that problem that you brought up right there, the gatekeeping problem, that is a totally separate problem from the other one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Okay,
and I know I've said, like, I've championed gatekeeping, but to a point. Not to the point that you're sitting there and you're shitting on somebody else who's trying to learn the fight.
Well, see, and see, again, going back to expectation. And when you get new people in the game, I will use myself as an example. You know, you think, oh, I've done like harder content on other games. You know, this is somewhat the same. And while the process of learning the mechanics might be the same, it's a different vibe. It's a different, okay, I'll say this. For me, going from a third-person game to a first-person game and then back to a third-person game screws with my brain.
Oh, yeah.
I struggle with third-person games. Simply because I have really only played first-person games.
Right.
So for me to play a third-person game, and especially where I have to figure out the best angle for the camera based upon the activity, that adds in 2 or 3 layers for me that just throws me off, and it slows down my learning curve a bunch. It's just like I'm used to a certain perspective. It doesn't change very much, and when it does change, I know what to expect. I when I first played Final Fantasy, I didn't fully grasp the concept of how the camera moved. Now, that's because I don't normally play third-person games.
Right.
It throws me off, and so it took me a bit. It's also part of the reason I haven't gone back to Final Fantasy in probably at least a year. It's just like I'm not used to those mechanics. And just as a thought process, I bought this mouse with this side button specifically because I know I will want to play a game like Final Fantasy, and I can bind everything to the button. Makes life incredibly easier.
Right.
But it also screws with my hand positioning, so that slows me down. And it's these tiny things that, when you're trying to learn the higher end content, takes a lot of time. And so and this goes, like I said, all flows back to expectations. As in life, as in your job, as in your marriage with your kids, you're trying to figure out the best way to do things, and sometimes you need some grace from the people on your team that you don't get. And then sometimes you need somebody on your team to just grab you and smack you or do whatever it needs to do, little bit of a rough love, like, hey, get your head out of your ass and do this right. Okay, I told you 5 times. Okay, this is how you do it. This is the sequence. What are you struggling with? And they're like, I'm struggling with the fact that, I don't have a soda next to me and my oldest son just ate all the Doritos. I'm like, okay, that has nothing to do with this game. Yeah, but it still bothers me. And so, you get into these third level issues.
Oh,
of, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No, I have done high-end rating in Final Fantasy for 4 years going on now. And I have seen so many people who get like tilted, right? Because of specific things. And I literally have had this conversation 3 times to where I'm like, hey, look, I understand your day probably sucked. You're going through it. It's been a week, etc., etc. But we need you in this fight. Like, wherever your head is right now, bring it here. Because, and I've said, like, I've kind of sounded kind of hallmarky a little bit about it, but I was like, we need you to fight with us. Like, fight your own fight after we're done. And if you need somebody to fight with you, talk to me so I can help you. And that's kind of like the raid mom speech. I have been referred to as the raid mom more than I care to admit. But it's like I've had to like almost like tell people psychologically, like, bro, bring it back. Bring it here. Cause if you're off, lamenting because you're bitch boss. Anyway, your boss bitched you out or, whatever the fuck the case may be. You know what? That sucks. I've been there, but
right.
Bring it back. And that's kind of my expectation, especially for the guys that I raid with. It's like we've all been in this fucking situation before. Like, come on. Like, oh my God. Have you guys seen the video of the really bald guy who's like super duper cut and he like flexes and he does like this thing? God, I
think I've seen it on TikTok like once or twice. It just kind of cringe when I watch it. It was like
he's like a Russian dude. I'll have, if I find the video, I'll have to post it. But he starts off the video like he's flexing like his calf muscle, and he's got like a wooden spoon, and he's like trying to chisel at it, and then he'll like put it down, and he'll like flex his muscles, and he'll do this motion. He's dressed up as a Saitama from One Punch Man before. There is some brain rot and a half that I watch, because sometimes.
Well, okay, now is this brain rot the same kind of brain rot that Jay watches when it comes to K-pop?
Look, man. All right, it's getting to a point where I don't even. I spend more time criticizing than listening to anything that on that side of the aisle. Because learning that a corporation used a group's earnings to pay other people, and that's the reason why they want to bring them back into the company when they left. That's been basically what's going on. But nothing to hear there. But
I just want to point out that all it takes is all it takes for Jay to go on the K-pop tangent, just the total right turn, is for me to bring it up once. Then he's talking about the latest news about, this guy's leaving and this guy's beefing with this guy and these girls don't like these girls and the fans don't like this company, but the company doesn't care. And it was like, all I need to do is just say one phrase and it winds Jay right up.
For the amount of years we've dug into Jay about K-pop, what's super funny is I think he's gonna go all the way over to J-pop at this point.
Right. And it's always something new. He says I only look at it, but it's always something. He never repeats the same stuff. It's always something new, which tells me he loves it. He loves the attention that we give him. It is part of his identity. He has wrapped his arms around this identity of this is who I am on this podcast, and this is why I am loved.
You know, speaking of identity,
what Hallmark movie did you get that idea from? I really want to know, where the hell did that come from?
Jay, you never cease to make me smile. It's always like I love this. One of the reasons I love doing this is because I know Jay will come up with something new, and it will always have to do with either being black or K-pop, and I'm like, it's always something new. I love this job so much.
I still wish that 23andMe came back, that you had just a degree of K-pop or K-pop, Korean. Hello.
Korean.
Fair.
I'm just saying, the warpath you would have been on,
right,
the entire time.
Jesus Christ.
Am I wrong?
Knowing me, I probably would have taken it. I probably would have gone like full Giant Smiley, most likely.
Oh my God.
I probably would have taken it way too far in my hubris, in all of my hubris.
So what's kind of funny, speaking of which, the amount of ass kissing that more and more streamers are doing for Assassin's Creed Shadows is impressive at this point. You know, the amount of people who are just glazing over all of the information, all of it, of why people are upset with the game itself, right? And they're just like, well, it's Asmongold's fault.
Oh Lord, and it's like, yeah, and see, and I think his name is Grums, right? He was like really talking about it, right? And the funny thing is, like, it came out recently that Ubisoft, like Tencent, has like I think a 25-30% stake in Ubisoft now, because basically Ubisoft, like, we need money, so we're gonna go to the company that wants to buy Western properties, Western IPs. So, and then now it's been silence for this past week since this news came out.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't heard a fucking peep out of those same streamers that were paid to do this, right? And I think his name, like one of the guys' name was Wildcat, right? He was like, "Man, I don't know why people complain about this stuff, man. It's so juvenile." I'm like, and I'm just like, bro, all right. You're playing Secret Shadow 3 days before the release date. You're talking about people being juvenile, like, bro. Like, it's obvious. It's a sponsored stream, so like, what are you talking about here? It's like, I can't take what you say seriously. I can't.
Name me another video game that has that the overall commentary around it has forced a national government to respond to correct something inside the video game. Name me another video game that is not Assassin's Creed Shadows where a government has had to say, actually, everybody, this is the truth.
But according to His Majesty Thor, they patched it out day one. He doesn't understand what the hate is.
Okay. But okay. So when it comes to Thor, it doesn't bother me at all I mean, you could say that, he's like shifted, maybe he got paid off. But see, here's the thing. I don't source all of my video game information from one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the problem, is that and honestly, it's not his fault. It's everyone else's fault. There is unfortunately a cult of personality around Thor.
Yes.
That he did not create. Okay, he did not create it. Mm-hmm. He is one of the most authentic people I have ever seen in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. and that tends to draw people to you. And then what it does is that people create their version of you inside their head, and you become this sort of like guru / leader / father figure to them. Therefore, all that you say is a gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, Thor never asked for that. All Thor did was take advantage of the Twitch algorithm,
Mm-hmm.
put out good content, and tell good stories.
Yep.
That's all he did. And he gathered a bunch of people to him because he was honest about stuff. He's like, yeah, you know what? I was working at Blizzard and I was going to get fired, but I knew that if I went in this door instead of this door, I would be able to, they wouldn't see me. And because they were firing so many people, they would probably forget me. And they did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that story is funny and it's true. And that's why people love Thor. So I mean, we can get upset about what we perceive as like a shift from Thor in his thinking. I mean, that's fine. But what bothers me the most is that people have created in their brains, and they do, this always happens. Doesn't matter the person, the event, or whatever. People create a world inside of their brain that they want. And when what they want and what is are two different things, and those things clash, that's where you have problems.
Oh, yeah.
And so and then take that, going back to my original point about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm certain it's happened. I probably have to do a little research, but name another video game that is even close to this level where a national government feels it necessary to say what is happening in this video game is not historically correct.
Oh, yeah. And on top of that, like the fact that people are going to a lot of these sites and being mad disrespectful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And see, that's the thing, is that when you try to be historically accurate, it's done so out of a respect for the base content.
Mm-hmm.
But what people fail to wrap their brains around is that gamers do not respect anything. That's why they shift from game to game to game to game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so it's funny, it's edgy to be the, it's funny and edgy to, because of memes, you go to these actual physical places and you stand there and then you do the stuff in the video game at that site, and then all the people that have lived there for generations and generations and have a deep understanding of the tradition behind it, be like, get your ass out of here. You don't belong here.
Yeah. Like what blows my mind, because I've seen like this context, and I also kind of want to touch on the historical accuracy part, because I know some people are like, oh yeah, that's why in one of the Assassin's Creeds you're fighting a magic pope in the Vatican. And it's like, okay, but you're missing the point of the like first 4 Assassin's Creeds. And this is where like from, and I'll argue Black Flag, but Black Flag onward, it loses the entire fucking point. The point is that the story was being told, and of course the, his like fiction part of the historical time period, it was told as if this went down during this time. Right. So, it's like, okay, you're fighting the Pope in the Vatican for a magic orb. Okay, but right. Yeah, but you're also looking at specific time or specific events during that time period, which right. They did, and it was historically accurate. That's the point. That's another reason why people are so upset, because
Yeah.
you like, oh, this has been the biggest bug up my ass, is when you have Hattori Hanzo bowing to some fucking tart. No, we're not doing that. Like, Hattori Hanzo of all people? Come on.
Like, yeah, but like my biggest gripe is that the whole thing the thing that bothered me is like, oh yeah, like Yasuke has a relationship with Nobunaga's sister, and I'm like, first of all, that is not historic. That is horribly historically inaccurate, because if you know anything about like Japanese like samurai culture, like a samurai who starts under a lord, they would rather slit their own stomachs to even think about trying that shit. All right, and this is Nobunaga Oda, one of the most infamous lords in feudal Japan. Like this man's savagery has gone on record. Has basically like if anyone dared to cross him or his family, his whole bloodline will be erased that same day.
Oh, yeah.
And then yeah, the whole thing when I was like, wait a minute, it's like, the same man that like sword makers kind of like learn from, this man is revered by Japanese, especially by people who create like Japanese swords, like they revere this man, and it's like, and as a fan of Japanese culture, the way that I think my last straw was the way that, oh yeah, you can destroy like Shinto shrines and destroy temples and shit. I'm like, that's my last straw, because it's like destroying Shinto, like temples and all that shit. That's like that's like going to a Christian church and basically destroying a cross. It's like,
well, it's the same thing as if you go to an Islamic temple and you start like fucking up the Quran. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my, what makes this hurt the most is that people have been begging for a Japanese Assassin's Creed game since Assassin's Creed 3, and that was in the 2000s, and you speak on historical accuracy. In my opinion, I truly believe Assassin's Creed Syndicate was the last game that really kind of focused on historical moments. Because my favorite Assassin's Creed is Unity, because the French Revolution, that's one of the big turning points in that country's history. Syndicate, those are my favorite, because that was during the Industrial Revolution. That's one of my favorite periods. Cause I'm a big fan of steampunk. So it's like, it bothers me so much, because I wanted to like this game. I
did too.
Truly wanted to. I was like, when I first announced it, I was like, okay, I can get past Yasuke because he actually existed, but the thing is, not a lot of things are known about him, so you can kind of take some liberties with it. But it's like, as time progresses, it's like, what wish he did? I really wish they did what Assassin's Creed Black Flag did. They made a DLC, Freedom Cry. I wish they'd gone that route, because you could have made a whole original story with Yasuke if you really wanted to include him in the game. That was a missed opportunity, because like, you really could have been like, hey, let's go to his origins, and let's go to him, actually learning. This could have been a learning experience that people that you could have took more liberties with, in my opinion.
You know what's funny is, because you mentioned that, and this has been true for a lot of games that we've seen, is the protagonists, as however you want to classify, with race, gender, color, whatever. Gamers are not opposed to that if the story is good. That is a caveat. I'm so, like, not bitter bitch about, but like I'm really getting the old man energy on, is if we have a good story, it doesn't matter who you put.
Okay, all right, okay. In that vein, now here's the question. If it were possible to somehow separate out and filter out all of the wokeness, all the DEI, all of the people, all of the people scolding us, for not embracing X, Y, and Z. Okay. If it were possible, do you think that Assassin's Creed Shadows, if it were possible to have a moment where, like, moment from the movie, the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. If it were possible, okay, if that were possible, do you think, simply on the merits of the game, that Assassin's Creed Shadows is a good game? And before you answer that, I am asking that question because I want to make another point. Go ahead.
From what I've gleaned, there's some merit to the game. Some, not a lot, but some.
Okay.
So, there's a chance.
Okay.
But
now, go ahead.
But because Jay and I are kind of big, like, historians about, like, Japanese culture and things of that nature, it still falls short for me. Like,
okay,
a lot of people say, like, oh, the combat's great. I'm like, that's great, but does it have a story? Is it telling me from Japanese perspective? Because if it's not, then it's just
not only that, but Assassin's Creed it prided itself on telling a story from a historical standpoint. And not only that, but, like, I really do think, like, after Odyssey, because in my opinion, Origins was the last game that had a good story, in my opinion. Because, like, I mean, Odyssey wasn't. See, Odyssey had the same problem as Shadows. It has good gameplay, but the story was kind of lacking. Valhalla was better story-wise. For me, I'm a big Norse mythology fan. I love, but Valhalla was good, but the story, the same thing. Story was lacking. Gameplay was great. Story was lacking, and I think this is a clear sign that. I think the clear sign Assassin's Creed, the devs are kind of like they're losing the reason why Assassin's Creed was so popular in the first place. Because like even after Assassin's Creed 4, when Desmond Miles was killed off, even after that, it still kept going because it's like you got to really play through a lot of historical moments, and so like I think, like, when playing Origins, getting to learn about ancient Egyptian times and learning how kind of the customs and culture is kind of like that was very interesting. And then when Odyssey came out, it's like instead of playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you could have just watched it or read the book. It would have been a better representation, and that worries me because it's like we're getting to a point where gaming is losing storytelling, in my opinion. So I mean, even games like Destiny 2, and Destiny 2 has a rich lore if you go back over to Destiny 1, but as time progresses, honestly, I think as a whole, this even in Hollywood, like, creativity and telling a story is almost becoming a lost art if you really stop and think about it.
Right. Okay. So the reason I asked that question is this: I've heard little bits of this kind of from various people. I think we have reached a point, and this always happens. The pendulum swings both ways. I think we've reached a point where people are now just trying to find reasons to hate games.
Yeah.
That will then create a response that everybody reacts to. Okay. I don't think that what Assassin's Creed Shadows did on the scale of, wokeness crap that we deal with, whether you're talking a Concord or the old school Overwatch stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't think what happened with Assassin's Creed Shadows is on the level of some of this other stuff. But I think Assassin's Creed Shadows has been caught up in this fervor that has been made worse by people on both sides of this argument who won't let it go, and all they want to do is score points against the other one.
Yeah, and that to me is not, it's not productive to fix a problem. Because a lot of people who are very evangelical, both left and right, about their political points of view, they want to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. And hi, if you want to see both sides of the argument, welcome to the show. If this is your first time, have a seat. Because even here, we've both agreed to disagree on many, many points.
Absolutely.
And when you understand and you see that, like, people, they want to play Assassin's Creed Shadows to use a fucking samurai sword and just cause chaos. Perfectly fine.
Okay. Right, and see, that's why what Thor said doesn't bother me. That's why people think that he got bought off. Okay, maybe he got money out of it. I don't really care, but see, that's the thing. Is it the game itself might be good, might be bad, might be kind of in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because we just want to be angry about shit all the time. Okay. Instead of finding things that we agree on, like, we all agree that Jay, even though he hates to say this out loud, is not Korean. Jay hates to say that out loud. He's black. He's not Korean. We all, okay. It's one of those hard truths that even Jay has to accept. Okay. I try, but but see, but see, that's the thing. Finding middle ground means everyone is a little bit wrong and a little bit right.
Right.
And that's the problem. Is that through various things, and we can talk for hours about this one.
Oh yeah.
But through various events over time, and purposeful obfuscation of the truth. Let's make sure that's clear. Whatever side you're on is wrong to one degree or another. Okay? That's how it's how it always is, and trying to find the middle ground is really rough anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because now you have the pendulum swinging back the other way, right? It is now swinging back to, we're tired of this. We don't want boys in girl sports. Nope, you're not a girl. You're a boy. Move on with yourself. And now this is what is interesting. Did you notice that the George Floyd wall is being taken down?
Oh yeah. A lot of the memorials are being painted over.
They're being painted over, and
yeah.
And see, that is just the next step. It started when Bezos is like, "Hey, Washington Post, cool your jets, people, please." Now you have all the money is realizing, oh, we have to now go back the other way because all the elites are like, oh, if we want to keep pulling the money out of all the poor people, we have to swing back the other way now.
Well, how do people vote? With their wallets. And it's the truth. Like, one of the best points, and especially when Disney was starting to get into like the DEI woke shit, is it's not the kids, because that was a big argument for a while. It's not the kids that are Disney's target audience. It's the parents. Because the parents are spending the money. The parents are going to the parks. The parents are the ones who are doing it. So when the parents are getting upset, because there was a bunch of other people who were attacking parents for this too, for like a long time. And people don't understand that's where the money comes from. And it's the same thing with gamers. Like, I forget who it was. It was content creator long ago. It's like, the one way you stop this shit from happening, because he was bitching about Bethesda, because like there was this whole unspoken agreement that it's like, oh, it's just Bethesda. Oh yeah, no, glitches are just Bethesda. And it's like, no, we should not accept that. As gamers, we should have a standard. We should want quality. Because we're also getting a game that, like, Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk's another great example. When it released, it was buggy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was saying is that us as gamers need to have a standard, and we should not accept buggy, unfinished games. Because the whole, like, well, they'll just patch it later. No. They release a game when it's done. Not like, oh, it's kind of done. No. Like, we as gamers should not accept that anymore. And that's
Right,
my
and
hail,
see,
and I'm dying on it.
That's it. Well, right, and it's really interesting to me that, you know, we can talk about, you know, it's really interesting to me. We can talk about from the politics standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that you always hated about your dad, everybody hated about their dad, was that he was a realist.
Yeah.
He had fully wrapped his brain around the fact that short-term gain comes at the expense of long-term growth, right? And that is what Donald Trump is doing right now, is that he's trying to fix the fact that we are $35 trillion in debt. The largest economy on the planet is $35 trillion in debt. 99% of the people that listen to this podcast do not remember when the world's reserve currency wasn't the dollar. It was the British sterling pound. Okay?
Oh yeah.
When the economy of Britain collapsed, they had rolling blackout. All of their services were all rationed.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they did exactly what we are on the brink of doing now as a country.
Yep.
And what people hate is not the fraud, it's getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting caught. That's what they hate.
Yeah, you know,
So,
what fascinates me, and I don't know, maybe it's because I see more of government inner workings.
Sure.
Is what fascinates me is people who are upset about their tax dollars are no longer being sent elsewhere. And I'm like, do you guys not remember from, like, Katrina with that FEMA fiasco?
Well, we can sit here and talk about FEMA fiascos. You still have people. You still have people from the Hawaii fires that are still waiting. You have people.
Mm-hmm.
You have people. You have people in the Carolinas who did not get help simply because of something they had in their front yard that said Trump on it.
Oh yeah. And I beg people, I really do, think about that for a hot fucking second.
And meanwhile, we're sending billions of dollars to California to fix their water problems that they have known about for the past 25 years, but have never fixed.
It's longer. It's been since Reagan was there.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But see, California's economy is bigger than 90% of the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if what people don't understand about America is that if the overall economies in California and New York collapse, and they are on the brink of doing that,
mm-hmm.
this country goes straight to hell.
Oh yeah,
because the two biggest ports in this country, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast, are in California and New York.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the goods comes in and out. That's where all the commerce happens.
Yep.
All the stuff you buy comes through. It's like 3 or 4 ports, but the two biggest ones are in California and New York. And what people cannot wrap their brains around is they just think, oh, just spend more money.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. This circles back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
35 trillion with a T in debt. That is the throwing money at a wall and hoping it sticks principle is not working.
We are in debt more than the entire. If you could get all of the currency of all the countries into one place at one time, our debt is larger than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people cannot wrap their brains around that. Just like, what was it, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, General Gravy, we had this conversation with your husband. People cannot wrap their brains around what it takes to fix something like that. We're talking about whether you're talking about a country or you're talking about software. Okay, trying to fix a bug in software is not just find bug fix. No, it's never like that. They're once you hit a certain size on a software, when it comes to software, fixing a problem causes 4 more.
Oh yeah.
And fixing one of those 4 causes 4 more. And it's not just like, oh, it's right here, press the button and done. No.
Oh yeah, that's the problem I have with like people who are saying like, "Oh, just get better servers or just get better this." Like, to kind of TLDR it, I don't know if you guys have ever played Jenga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Doing software is like a Jenga.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And for people who don't know what Jenga is, because some of us get outside, Jenga is a puzzle of sorts that you play with people. And it's like, it stacks 3 by 3 by 3 and it goes all the way up. And you and another person have to figure out which pieces to take out so the structure stays in place and it doesn't fall over. That's software engineering. It is not a bunch of ones and zeros. It's not as simple as you people think it is. I'm going to say this with my whole ass chest, especially gamers. Learn to fucking code. Thank you for my TED Talk. Have a nice day.
Wait. Okay, hold on a second. How can you have an ass chest? Could you say with your whole ass chest?
I mean, never mind. We're not going to go into that part. Anyway.
Yes, it's speaking of, people need to learn how to, navigate. Yeah, people talking about the climate AI again, and what have we learned, children? Make AI your bitch before AI makes it yours. It's like, and guess what? On Humble Bundle right now, there's a bundle where you can buy for class of like to get your your certifications, and there's 3 separate ones for AI. Mm-hmm. It costs $25 on Humble Bundle right now, so you can get certifications to code and shit. And it's like, yes, it's like in artists, I understand AI imaging, like it sucks major. I empathize with you. But just like how but just like how like in the 50s, 60s, we had telephone operators. The 70s, 80s, that became obsolete. When telephone lines.
Artists, like hand artists, had into a fucking beef with photographers for the longest time.
Exactly, because it's like say look, you like this is part of evolution, all right? Mm-hmm. Just like how, just like with the Industrial Revolution, just like with people like me, Gravy, and Bill, we went from using disk-only system laptops to Windows 95. Like we lived through that transformation to the digital age. Just like it is, just like Thanos, it is inevitable. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The best thing you can do is learn how AI imaging works and use it to your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I know a lot of y'all are gonna lose. A lot of you gonna lose a lot of the way you make a living. But here's the thing, y'all was warned about this years ago.
Oh, it was a writing on the wall. It was coming.
Yeah.
And AI is not fucking going anywhere, kids. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, and for all you Gen Z, Gen Alpha, I want you to watch a movie called Wall-E. I want you to watch that movie, and I want you to pay attention because if y'all refuse to understand where society is going, we're gonna end up just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with AI and automation, that's the new wave.
Yep.
So yes, the best thing to do, study it, learn it, and apply it to your own career. Because I promise you, as soon as you realize that yes, AI is coming for your job, you can learn how to wield it for yourself. Okay,
yeah.
so even for me, you know, you know what I do for a living? I basically press buttons and I watch live streams and make sure nothing fucks up. Like automation can easily take my job, easily. However, I'm learning how automation works. Because I'm learning how automation works, I can use it to my advantage, so I can be the kind of person that sits on my desk and make sure the automation doesn't go to shit. Because guess what? Just like automation, AI systems break down too, and we need people to learn how to fix it.
Yep.
So learn how AI works. Learn how it breaks too. Learn how AI and automation breaks, and learn the best ways to fix it. Because I promise you, a lot of companies, just like Ubisoft right now, they're trying so hard. They're trying to raise profit and revenue. That's their main focus. So guess what? If you can prove to them that, hey, keep me on your payroll because I can help you save money, and I promise you, you'll be the last one standing in your office. I promise you.
Well, on top of that, it's like make your own little projects. Do your own portfolio. Shit, that's how Diablo fucking came about. Diablo was another project. It wasn't even a mainstream fucking Blizzard thing. So make your own portfolio, make your own projects. Fucking make something that has AI integration. Do it because that is the shit that will be your shield from the coming storm of people getting laid off.
Not only that, learn how patents work.
Yep.
Learn how to patent your work. If you can trademark it, you can copyright it, you can patent it, do that shit immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and Jay, it's unfortunate that you can't learn to be both Korean and black.
Oh my
god. Well, here's the thing. I have fully embraced my Filipino heritage, even though it's like 0.3%, but it still counts at the end of the day. And yeah, the funny thing is that the funny thing is that as I'm learning about this shit, right? And it's like, like more black people are more Filipino than anything else, like as far as like Asian heritage go, which is very, very interesting. And not only that, but like if you go to Philippines, man, like Philippines, as far as Southeast Asia, they're like one of the most richest countries in Southeast Asia. But unfortunately, just like the South, they deal with a lot of natural events, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with that. but and not only that, but I do fully since learning that 23andMe is basically going bankrupt, I am taking upon myself. I am going to take as soon as I can, I'm going to go to Ancestry.com and do it again, just so I could double check. Because I consider myself a very thorough individual. If it comes back, and I swear to Christ, if there's any discrepancies, I am suing.
If any Korean pops up, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna lose my shit. Just anyway. So unfortunately, gentlemen, we're out of time today.
I think that we had a good one today. I think we had a good one. I saved the racist, for the start and the finish. We didn't have anything in the middle that was racist. So,
well, I tried to be a little bit subtle with it. I tried to back you up. Yeah.
Right.
Jay's like, you son of a bitch.
I love you guys. This is so much fun.
I swear, racism is like Bill's crack cocaine. I swear it is. It's just basically his cocaine, man. He just can't get enough of it. It's like, or is it his ecstasy? Like, which one is it?
Okay, I will say that it will be just like the crack cocaine that the government I'm introduced to the black community. I'm in the 80s.
I have a really fucked up way we're gonna end this episode right now.
You know what? You might fuck it. Just do it.
So
Come on.
if Bill's like crack cocaine, does that mean he's invited to the cookout? Anyway, so we're gonna end right there. Bye.